Hi everyone, this is Dr. Sandeep Chaitanya. Today we will be discussing about the basic introduction to ethical hacking. What is the need for the ethical hacking? What are the different type of prerequisites? All we will be discussing. Once we are going with the ethical hacking, the basic prerequisite is nothing but we should have a basic knowledge about the computer networks, cyber security, cryptography, and these are the basic things. In the previous semesters, we had already discussed about these things. And now we are going to discuss about the basic ethical hacking, how we are going to introduce these new techniques, new technologies to you. So this is coming to the first unit. Here what we are going to learn. We'll be going to learn about the basic introduction to the ethical hacking and what is the need for the footprinting and information gathering, how it is going to help us. Scanning the network and the hosts. System hacking phases, what are the different type of phases that has been involved. And next, we'll be concerned about the ethical law and moreover the professional conduct. This is about the different type of things what we are going to discuss in the first unit. The first unit has been categorized into two parts. The first thing is nothing but the ethical hacking basics. Here we'll be mainly talking about the basics about the ethical hacking. Basics, nothing but different type of terminologies. And what is a basic, how we are going to differentiate the hackers and moreover trackers, or also crackers. And next we'll be discussing about the footprinting and moreover scanning. How it is going to help us. It is involved with a 7-step information gathering process. And how this particular 7 steps information gathering process is helping us to have the proper methodology of ethical hacking. So now coming to the ethical hacking, what exactly the ethical hacking is of? Any organization data will be mainly concerned about 3 things. These 3 things are the basic pillars. That is nothing but the CIA trade. What is that particular CIA? Confidentiality, integrity, and moreover the availability. Confidentiality of what? Every organization, it may be the banking sector, it may be the hospital, it may be the corporate company, any sort of thing. They will be maintaining millions terabytes of data. Once a large amount of data has been maintained, how we are going to maintain the confidentiality? So that we provide the proper information. So this is nothing but the confidentiality. We should not have any sort of unwanted data. Next, nothing but the integrity. Once we are maintaining the integrity of the data, suppose for example, I am a client, what I will be doing, in spite of maintaining such a large amount of data, I may be relying on the cloud, I may be relying on different type of servers to maintain the data. So once I am storing the data on those cloud environments or any sort of servers, the integrity has to be maintained. Integrity is such a manner that what the data that has been stored in that particular cloud should not be modified without any sort of authorization from me. I myself am the owner of that particular data, okay, without any sort of knowing knowledge from me, the data should not be modified. Once I am, suppose, for example, concerned to the networks also. Integrity, suppose if I am transferring some sort of data from client to the server, what the data that has been sent from me should be exactly received to the receiver without any sort of modification. That is nothing but the integrity. The data should not get modified. And next, finally, concern about the availability. So once I am maintaining such a large amount of data on any sort of third-party servers, the data should always be available. Okay, once a client has been requesting some sort of data, is passing some sort of query, so within minute of seconds itself, I have to get the required data at my site. That is nothing but at the user site. Then only we can say the data is always be available. So this is nothing but the CIA. Very, very, very important thing. And the entire ethical hacking will be mainly concerned about 3 things. These are the 3 pillars of our subject. Confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Next, we'll be talking about different type of threats that has been prevailing in the network, in the system, anywhere, on any sort of electronic gadget. And next, we'll be talking about the security testing also. What are the different type of testing process that has been involved? What are the different type of testing methodologies, phases, everything we'll be discussing about. And next, we are also categorizing the hacker and more of the crackers. In a normal human tendency, we'll be thinking that the hacker, tracker, everyone is of much more of same. But with a small difference, depending upon the operations that are going to perform by every individual person, we are categorizing them into hackers and more of the crackers. And we'll be discussing about the ethical hacking, how we are going to keep it as legal, and what are the different type of ethics and more of the legality. Once we are doing such an ethical hacking with permission of the organizations also, how we are going to implement concern about the legal issues. And we'll be talking about the attackers process. That is nothing but the steps that has been involved. What are the different type of process that has been involved? How we are going to make the required attacking. And finally, the ethical hacker process. The attacker and moreover the ethical hacker both may be of much more of same. What the ethical hacker, how the ethical hacker is going to think, in the same manner, the ethical hacker is also makes up operations. The attacker and ethical hacker should think in the same manner, should do the operations in the same manner. Then only we can understand how the attacker is going to operate in the near future. That implies the ethical hacker will have the authorization. Is a small difference between the attacker and more of the ethical hacker. Always the ethical hacker will have the authorization. The authorization from the organization for whom he is going to work. And this is about the basic introduction to the ethical hacking process and the steps that has been involved. And next part of the unit will be mainly talking about the footprinting and more of the scanning. What exactly the footprinting is of. So here we are going to identify the target organization on which the attacker has been attacking the network. And we will be getting the gathering the public information. That implies we are collecting the data from different type of sources. And next we are going to identify the network range and model systems. That implies the finding the IP ranges and identifying the live hosts. And next we are discovering the open ports and services, and which the attacker is mainly targeting about. So identifying of open ports, identifying the ports which has been used by the hacker is very much crucial. From that particular ports itself, most of the hackers will be coming into my network, into my system, and hacking my own data. And we'll be talking about the identifying the different type of operating system and more of the techniques that has been involved here. Detecting the operating system, server softwares, and more techniques. Next, we'll be talking about the how we are going to enumerate the users and what are the different types that has been involved. From all this particular information that has been collected from multiple sources, and finally we are going to analyze and make the documents properly so that that particular information may be used in the near future. So this is about the basic things what we are going to discuss in the first unit. And next, let comes to the basic introduction to the ethical hacking. How the ethical hacker is going to behave. And how this ethical hacking is very much different to that of the traditional attackers, how they are going to perform. As I said previously also, the attacker and moreover the ethical hacker will think much more of same. In such a manner that the ethical hacker will have the authorization. These are basic things, basic difference. That is the first point where I want to make the emphasis. Authorize the security practice to identify vulnerabilities in my system, network, and more of the application. So we are checking about the system resources, network, applications, what we are going to use everywhere. We are checking about the vulnerabilities where it has been there. But we are authorized. And we will be conducting the legal permission from the organization before making the testing. This has to be done. Legal things are very much important for us. Then only we'll be having the authorization to do any sort of operations as similar to that of the hackers, how they are going to hack, how they are going to open the required ports, how they are going to hack my own database, applications, network, everything. And we are mainly aiming about the strengths defenses in order to improve the security, cyber security posture. We are also mainly focusing on prevention, protection of my own data. Let me explain in detail. Let me go with a small example. What the need for going with ethical hacking? Generally, we can see here as an example. Every organization periodically they will be performing the security audits. The organization may be a banking sector, it may be a corporate company, any sort of thing. Let me go with a small application regarding to the banking sector. So bankings, not only the financial audits what they are performing regularly, like every 6 months they will be having some sort of audit, as we are very much familiar. Apart from that financial audit, we have to perform the security audits also. During the security audit process, okay, the ethical hackers, they will be tracking the total database, total system resources, the total network. Come to the system resources. They'll be checking any chance of hacking the device. They'll be checking about the network ports also. Is there any scope? Is there any data breaches that can be happen via that particular ports? And they will be checking about the legitimacy of the applications what they are using also. Is there any bugs in that particular applications what they are using? Let me go with a small example. In the year 2022, concerned to an example of AIIMS New Delhi. AIIMS New Delhi is a big organization, big hospital. They are maintaining a large amount of data of VVIPs. They may be the patient also. So what happened in the year 2022 is nothing but there is a ransomware attack. Somehow one of the employee has got one application or one mail saying that, yeah, hooray, you have won some sort of $1 million. A normal layman like me, what I will be thinking, I'll be simply clicking on that particular link. A normal human tendency. Automatically, when the link has been triggered, automatically some sort of unwanted data, it may be the virus, any sort of thing, yes, came into the network. And it has hacked the entire database. So it is one of the ransomware attack. So in detail in the mere lectures, we'll be talking about in detail about their ransomware attack, how they are going to detect and all these things. It's an example right now. So these things are very much important for us. So we have to check about the system resources. Is there any chance of having the hackers to enter into my system via multiple ports? Checking about the applications what we are using. Checking the entire data what is coming into the network and going out of the network. Everything has to be regularly audited. Then only we can have the provision to prevent the cyber frauds and moreover the data breaches also. The main advantage of going with the ethical hacking is nothing but it will be definitely helping the organization to proactively think the weaknesses. Before my network, before my system resources getting hacked, the ethical hacker will be helping us what are the different type of loopholes that has been available concerned to the system resources, network, applications, everywhere. Why? Because before itself we are making the actions not to have any sort of hacking. So that definitely it will be helping the system resources, data and everywhere. So this is a main example or also main importance why we are going with the ethical hacking. And these are the different type of steps that has been involved in the case of ethical hacking. Okay, first of all, going with the reconnaissance. Here we will be mainly gathering the information about the target system or else a network. It may be the corporate company's database, it may be the hospital database, it may be the banking database, any sort of thing. First of all, we will be getting the total information about the system and more of the network. Next we'll be making the scanning of the entire system and more over the network by using different type of applications, what we are going to discuss in the near future. Here we'll be mainly identifying the open ports, what are the different type of active services, and what are the different type of chances of having the potential vulnerabilities. And next, as an authorized person, we'll be gaining access on that particular things. Here we'll be checking about the exploiting vulnerabilities to breach the system. Is there any chances of having any sort of vulnerabilities to breach my system? Yeah, breaching the network, breaching the database, any sort of thing may happen. And next, we have to maintain the access regularly to ensure ongoing control through the backdoors or else any sort of persistence. So any application, any network, any system resources, everywhere we will be having some sort of backdoors. Backdoors are nothing but the unauthorized entry into my system, into my resources, into my application, into my database, any sort of thing. So the developer, they themselves, before developing the process of developing the entire application, they will be creating different type of backdoors also. So via that particular backdoors, unauthorizedly, we can enter into the database and we can check the entire vulnerabilities. Is there any chance of having any sort of hacking? I like that. And next, we'll be identifying and prioritizing the weakness in that particular system by scanning, by accessing the entire resources. Here, we'll be mainly talking about the vulnerability analysis. Once these things has been properly analyzed, collected, next we have to report the things so that those things can be avoided, and what are the different type of actions that can be taken so that these things may not occur in the near future also. So proper documentation has to be maintained. We have to check the required findings. What are the different type of methods that has been involved by the stakeholders? Everything has to be properly reported, so that these particular database, this particular report can be used for the near future. And finally, we'll be checking about the fixing the vulnerabilities and verifying the security improvements. So regularly we have to follow up the required actions. Why? Because suppose we are working on the ransomware attack. In the next near future, we may get the zero-day attack. So every day, different type of attacks are coming into my network. Every day, different type of virus is coming into my network. So we have every virus, every threat will be having their own different type of functionalities. So we have to properly analyze all these particular things. Then only we can make the proper actions so that we can protect my own system resources and more of the database also. So this is about the basic introduction about the ethical hacking. Thank you.
Like, share, comment, and subscribe VNR Digital Learning Resource YouTube channel.